wait, where's this? Not like where this movie's going, but I'm like, I would think this movie should be kind of over right now.
Okay. Yeah, we're back on. So
We're back
whenever
on?
you want to, like,
Okay. So real quick introduction again. My name is Emilio.
RJ.
Introduction again. This is a new episode.
All right. You can still use again.
No. Okay.
All right. So.
Welcome to the Three Hacks in a Movie podcast.
Three hacks in a movie.
Starring Bentley.
Emilio.
And RJ.
And this is the movie where three hacks have hacky podcasts and talk about movies.
Self-proclaimed hacks.
And today's movie we just watched for like 2 hours ago. So I might have forgotten most of it, but Arnold Schwarzenegger in Last Action Hero.
Written by Shane Black. If anyone thinks that name sounds familiar, if you ever watched any of the Lethal Weapon movies and or The Nice Guys, that's probably why you've heard this name before.
And who directed it?
We saw the
What
name.
was it? John McTiernan? I
yeah,
think
something
He's the
like
guy
that.
who did Die Hard, right?
Die
The
Hard.
first Die Hard, at least. Yeah. Which,
And the second one.
oh, and the second one.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Fantastic movie.
And Predator.
Oh.
John McTiernan.
Which makes sense why Schwarzenegger came back, or, bringing back that director/actor combo duo.
Yeah, Shane Black was in the Predator too. He's one of the crew members.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool to
With
see.
Jesse
And you're
Ventura.
Yeah, it was like him, Jesse Ventura, Carl Weathers. Like, he was one of like the 5 or 6 guys that was
Oh, wow.
in the crew.
Oh, okay.
Like, he's an actual character in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Oh, God. I love seeing that progression in a filmmaker's and in an actor's life, honestly.
He's a great writer, but this movie probably didn't have the best script. I'd say like it was a great movie and it's very entertaining, but it plays into like cliches so hard.
But that's kind of the point, right? Like, they're doing it on purpose.
But like plot cliches too, and like there's like
people today would say it's satire.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
satire,
Yeah.
almost a parody of action movies.
Yeah. So real quick, again, so the movie is Last Action Hero. Bentley, before we really go into it, do you want to give us your quick synopsis
My
of this movie?
synopsis. It's kind of hard.
First of all, is it a movie or a
So,
film?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
That's a movie right
I'd say
there,
it's a movie.
actually,
RJ?
for sure.
Yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a blockbuster
Okay, yeah.
movie.
I think Quentin Tarantino would agree. I think we should do that every episode. First question, is it a movie or a film?
Yeah.
But all right, Bentley, sorry. Your synopsis.
So just spitballing here. I think the kid's name is Danny, obviously, because every fucking kid's name in a 90s movie has to be fucking Danny, apparently.
Danny.
So
okay.
Danny is a kid in the 90s, lives in New York City, and he loves going to the movies, watching movies. And his favorite action hero is this hero named Jack Slater, I believe.
Slater. Yep.
Played
It's
by
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Who's real in this world. Like, he's
Yeah.
real in this movie world, but he plays Jack Slater, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, the kid is, like, friends with the guy who owns, like, the movie theater, I guess. And, like, he's, like, these two are the only people in this movie theater ever for some reason. But, yeah, they're buddies. So he goes up and he's like, hey, I'm like, we're buddies, right? So I don't know. For some reason, he gives the kid like a golden ticket because he's like, for some reason.
Well,
he invites him to see the
new Jack Slater.
screening for the new Jack Slater movie
Right, Jack
before it
Slater
releases.
4.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
But
anyone wondering?
was the golden ticket for that screen of Jack
No,
Slater?
no,
No, he just
the
gave
gold
it to
ticket
him.
was
He just
like
gave
a
it
gold
to him.
ticket. Yeah.
That's what I mean by like sometimes the
But he-
script being
Well,
kind of just like
I think again, like he truly didn't believe, like whatever, because he said Houdini performed at the theater, right? And he
yeah,
was
there's
the
like a
one that
Houdini like aspect to this magic of the golden
yeah,
ticket.
he said that Houdini gave him this ticket that was magical, and I think he told him explicitly that it would put him in a movie or whatever.
It would
or
transfer him to like a different world.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't
And he said out loud that, or he told Danny, he's just like, oh, I never did it, maybe because I was too scared or whatever. I honestly think it's kind of
Big
the typical
pussy.
thing. I kind of thought it was just a typical thing of where he thought like, oh, haha, like it's just a joke, like he didn't really think it was going to transport him into another world.
Right.
And that's why he never actually tried to use the ticket.
He grabs it and he's like, whoa, cool,
Yeah.
or whatever, like how they do in those 90s movies.
Yeah.
And then, so he gets the ticket, then he goes to see Jack Slater 3.
4.
No, he goes to see 3, I think.
No, it's 4.
No, the one that he's like going to go... That,
3 is the one he's watching, and
Yeah.
4 is the premiere.
right. So he goes to see Jack Slater 3 with the golden ticket.
The 4.
No, it's 4.
Because he's seen the screening before the movie comes out.
The very
And that's
first,
when he gives him the
yeah,
ticket.
the very first movie we watch him watching is Jack Slater 3, and then that's why he gets all excited about it. He's like, oh, I already have the film for his new one, Jack Slater 4.
Right. So it's Jack Slater 4. It's
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Jack Slater 4, and he has the ticket, and then he's watching Arnold Schwarzenegger do his Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff, like fighting off like mob bosses in a car, shooting them, and
saying one-liners.
saying one-liners, like just the most horrible like one. It's like you can tell they just went with the first one-liner they thought of, and didn't like try to workshop it because they're like really just bold.
Why would you workshop perfection?
But it makes it work though,
Yeah.
But, so, anyways, for some reason, Arnold Schwarzenegger like shoots a stick of TNT, and then at that point, the magical car ticket activates, and then the TNT goes through the movie screen, and it goes into the real world. And it lands in the aisle, and then Danny's like, "Oh shit!" and he's like runs away, and then it blows up, and then boom!
He throws his popcorn on it.
He throws his
Yeah.
popcorn on it to
Yeah.
snuff it out, which I thought actually snuffed it
That
out.
part he remembers, but not the fact that it's Jack Slater 4 that he's watching.
anyways.
I couldn't even remember the exact specific thing that was like made you show like, oh, the ticket worked. But now that you, I was like, oh right, yeah,
It's like they shot like
shoots the
TNT.
dynamite. Yeah.
That activates it or something.
Okay, yeah.
Because like So, anyways, then he's like in this car.
The
and he's
TNT explodes.
he
So
explodes, and
when
then the screen goes white or whatever. And he's like in the car with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Jack
And
Slater.
Jack Slater, who doesn't
Yeah.
know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is because he's fucking Jack Slater.
Yeah,
he's in
exactly.
the
Yeah.
movie world now. So.
Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't exist in that world, as we see clearly later in the scene where he goes to a movie store, and apparently Terminator 2 Judgment Day stars Sylvester Stallone in this world.
Yeah.
So Sylvester Stallone is, I guess, real and
Yeah, it seems like
world,
everything
so-
else. It's kind of like anytime an actor plays somebody else, right, in a movie, but it's supposed to be in the real world. It's like you'll never see their actual name, right, because they don't technically exist in that world.
So yeah,
Yeah,
anyways.
I would say pretty
He's-
good synopsis. Like overall, it's about a kid.
Oh, I'm not even.
Yeah, he's probably not even halfway done.
We don't gotta give the whole movie.
Yeah,
away,
dude, yeah.
but
You don't
the
go
kid
from like
ends up
the.
in the Jack Slater movie.
Yeah, he's in the movie world, and basically they're like homies, and he looks at him as like as a father figure or something like that, and then
Yeah.
like they end up
it's all-
being on like a police unit together because like the chief is like
buddy cop duo.
Yeah.
yeah.
they're
So
forcing
it's
the
the
buddy
perfect
cop
buddy cop
duo.
duo. Yeah, and-
Arnold Schwarzenegger and a 12-year-old kid.
to like fight like a drug mogul of some kind. I think that's drugs, right? Isn't that what they're doing?
Well,
with
he's
him?
just like a mob boss, so
Mob
it
boss?
probably,
Yeah,
yeah,
probably
probably,
drugs.
yeah. You're
Mobbery.
definitely involved in drugs.
I don't know if I missed that detail as well, but
Yeah, yeah. So real quick, the kid Danny, he doesn't have a dad in the movie. Like you just don't see him at all. I don't even think they mentioned about
Widowed.
widowed.
The wife is widowed.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So the
mom.
wife is widowed. So yeah. So they live in New York in this tiny ass apartment. His mom is trying her hardest to, keep a roof over his head and everything. But because he doesn't have a dad and he doesn't really have any friends, he just spends his entire time in this just this movie theater that's basically. Oh, so we do see that the movie theater is being sold to a chain essentially because you see a sign that outside that says. Coming soon, a something megaplex, which isn't usually the name of a local theater. It's usually like a chain or whatever. And we see once you see him walking around the theater, the inside of the theater is totally tagged up. It's raggedy. There's only 2 people who work there. The guy who owns it, who's falling asleep during the movies, and he's like the projectionist and everything, and the guy running the concession stand, who was also asleep when he went to go tell him like, hey, like the movie's coming out of focus or whatever. So yeah, this kid Danny doesn't have any friends, doesn't have a dad, so he just spends all this time in the theater, to the point where it obviously affecting his life pretty negatively because he was supposed to stay home and he's like fuck that. Like, I'm gonna go watch a movie again, and then that's when he gets robbed or whatever. I mean,
yeah, he gets robbed. Huh?
yeah,
That's
he gets
a weird
robbed,
scene,
and then I
actually.
wouldn't even
Yeah.
say robbed because if you remember, the robber was like, this is it. Like, you don't have anything worth stealing. Like, you don't even have
No
a
jewelry, no VCR.
Yeah, not even a VCR to steal. And he's just like, you have a TV that I can maybe get $20 for.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, $20 is like, I don't know, like $50 to $60
So-
now, probably.
It's like in the beginning of the movie, before you even like really know who any of the characters are. This kid, his mom goes out, and then this burglar just breaks in the door as he's trying to leave,
Yeah.
and then just like
Or
assaults him, and then
yeah, if you remember, he opens the door first, and he sees a kind of creepy dude walk by, so he closes the door again, and then he waits like what, 15 seconds, and
If
he's
that.
like, yeah, if that, and he's like, oh, it must be okay now, and then he opens the door, and then that's when the fucking burglar like comes in. He's like, ha ha ha, and then
so
It sets
whatever.
up the world good to show that how bad the actual world is.
yeah.
right.
Again,
true.
it's New York, and definitely
the
not the
90s.
and definitely not the good part, dude. Like,
So
he
that-
lives in a freaking bedroom closet that's probably like at that time like $1,000 rent or whatever, which is the equivalent to like $3,000
Yeah.
now. You know?
So after he gets burgled, the police basically just tell him to fuck off and go home, and like, or whatever, and like make sure his mom knows or something.
Yeah.
But then he just goes to go see a movie after getting
He
like
goes back to the theater,
after
yeah.
leaving the police, which I thought was kind of like a weird decision.
He really wanted to see Jack Slater 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude.
Really forget about that burgling that just
Yeah,
happened like
that's,
30
that's, how,
minutes
that's
ago.
his escape
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the real world, man.
That's, yeah, I mean, I get it, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it just really sets up the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, that's basically like the whole thing of the movie is just that. Well, that leads up to him, you know, going back to the theater. The theater owner tells him like, "Hey, you know, my dad used to own this theater. Houdini performed here once, and he gave me this golden ticket and told me that it would, you know, transport me into a different world, essentially." And then he's like, "Oh, okay, you know, whatever." He's just like, "But I never used it because I was scared or whatever." Danny technically uses it because he keeps half of the golden ticket. And then, you know, one thing leads to another. He ends up in the movie, and he's trying to convince Jack Slater, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie, that it's a movie, essentially.
and
he's
that
like,
he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah, that he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's like, he can't even pronounce his own name. He's like, who's this Arnold Schwarzenegger? You know,
It was
whatever.
like Brown Schwager.
Yeah, Brown
like that.
Swagger. Yeah, he's like, I've never heard of him. And so he's trying to convince him that it's a movie, which is kind of hard to do to obviously a movie character.
As
But
they're
it's fun,
jumping
though.
off of fucking like ledges and cars are exploding.
Literally
and, like,
Driving like
everything.
you're in GTA.
Yes,
just-
everything explodes. Like one of the guys, his car was midair, didn't even get shot at, and it explodes before it hits the ground. An ice cream cone goes through one of the bad guys' head. Like,
You probably should have counted the explosion in this movie because I think it was
I know.
like over 30 or
Yeah.
at least.
There's a scene where it was like a shot from the front, watching Jack Slater and the kid in the car, and then the car of bad guys behind him following him, and there was like 5 straight explosions. Like he was swerving from one side of the road to the other. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and car would blow up, car would blow up, car would blow up.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was funny. Well, like later you see. Okay, this is not a spoiler-free podcast by any means. I mean, we'll try not to give away the ending, but there's a point in the movie where Jack Slater, he comes out into the real world, and he's trying to take down one of the bad guys who was also in the real world. And he shoots at a taxi cab thinking that it's just going to blow up after the first shot. And he realizes, like, oh, right, that's not how things work in the real
I think
world.
taxis are bulletproof.
Yeah. But yeah, so the point is, like, you know, this kid falls into the movie. He falls into Jack Slater 4. And he's trying to help, you know, basically Jack solve the crime of the movie. But the other cool thing is you see that the movie is still very much a movie because when you go to the police precinct, it's definitely unreal how nice this police precinct is. You think it's like some like super high-end mall or something, like how big it is, how nice it is, how clean it is. Have you ever been in a police precinct, especially in LA? It's nowhere near that nice. But anyways, there's a point that I absolutely love is there's someone who's assigning the cases, but instead of assigning the cases, they just assign partners. And you see like every police trope where it's like the cartoon cat, you know, or whatever. It's like it's a buddy cop movie between a cartoon cat and a real person, you know.
The hot girl and the big fat guy.
Yeah. Oh no, it was a hot girl with the cat, right? Because he like grabs, or he like
there was
says,
a girl with the cat.
Yeah,
as well.
there was a girl with a cartoon cat. Yeah, and then there was like and they were like setting up the classic like buddy cop like dynamic.
The rabbi and
the
like,
rabbi. That's what. That's what it was. The rabbi and a police officer.
That old cliche.
But just things like that. I just thought that scene was so funny because again, the movie kind of in a sense is very satirical. It really likes to make fun of the over the top action movies, which is funny because fucking it's Shane Black who did Lethal Weapon, which is kind of,
and Arnie who did like all the big action movies,
all the big over the top action movies. So it's kind of cool that they're like these two names decided to kind of like make fun of like the things that made them famous essentially. But yeah, I mean overall the story is about a little kid who falls into his favorite film series and he's trying to help out his hero, and then the villain in that movie comes into the real world and the hero and obviously the kid go into the real world to try to like stop him and save the day and everything. But it's a very meta film. Like it's very meta, which is a lot of fun to watch sometimes.
Very funny.
Yeah, it's a funny movie, man. Like the one-liners, like the cheesy puns and everything.
Yeah,
like,
there's some good ones.
It's fantastic. Again, dude, when I started thinking like that when the ice cream cone went through his head, I was just like, oh, looks like he got brain freeze or something like that, or he's probably lactose intolerant,
My favorite was when he was going off to catch the guy with the glass eye, and he was like, "Got to catch the red eye."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh man.
Some of them were definitely stretches.
Yeah.
That one I actually don't even think I noticed.
Oh no! The one that you said was the acres one, right?
Yeah, the
like,
acres.
Here's some acres.
Here's some acres or whatever.
Are you like?
Are you
or something?
Are you a farmer?
Yeah, a farmer.
Here's some acres.
Yeah.
What?
And he just kicks him in the nuts.
Kicks him in the balls.
He does fly like a few feet back, so I definitely either interpreted it as, he went some distance, therefore like feet is acres, or it's like eight because obviously he's in pain now.
There's
right?
like layers to this joke.
Yeah, I think you could just interpret it either way. But yeah, it's just a fun movie, man. Like overall, I mean, again, I can. The movies that it makes fun of within the Jack Slater series are movies that I can actually enjoy. Because, again, you take it for what it is. It is an over-the-top action movie for the super good-looking hero, right? He never gets hurt, right? Like, the house explodes, and the kid even calls it. It's like, oh, the cops that are basically extras are dead.
Yeah.
And there's not even a scratch on Jack Slater. Like, it's just things like that, right? He just completely walked away from a house fucking exploding. The cheesy one-liners, the use of, I don't know, man, the like the cars driving off of buildings or ramps or stuff that definitely should have been destroyed off of that first jump and somehow keep going.
Yeah, I love the Jack Slater just driving like with no care in the world, and you see all the other cars on the road just swerving out of the way, like "Screw you, Slater!"
Yeah. The over the top like angry black police chief who's like Slater, you literally don't even understand what he's
speaking
saying.
gibberish because you can't understand him.
He's
Steam coming out of his ears because he's so mad,
so angry and talking so fast. And I love at the end where Jack calls him back. He's just like, hey, like you don't need to yell all the time or whatever. You know why? Because I'm the hero or whatever. And
you're the comic side.
Yeah, he's
side
like, I
character.
get results. Kind of attitude. And I love like all the little tropes that the kid calls out. When they go to the Blockbuster or whatever, and they're looking for the movies, and he's like, "Haven't you noticed that every woman in here is attractive?" And then he's like, "No, I guess I didn't really notice that." And then they leave, and it's like, "Look around. Literally, not one single woman that we haven't seen hasn't been a beautiful woman." He's like, "That's just California or whatever," which I thought was hilarious, man. Like, I just love. That's when I can really like a meta movie. Is just it's not afraid to make fun of its own genre. Essentially, What do you think, Melly?
Very funny. it gives you all of the itches that you need. If you have the itch of like a just dumb schlocky action movie,
Yeah.
it hits all those like scratches like 110% probably.
Yeah.
Like you get the angry like cop chief or whatever.
Yep, absolutely.
That cliche.
Yep.
And tons of explosions, tons of guns.
He's got
tons
a-
of one-liners, like cool one-liners and stuff.
He's got like a beautiful college co-ed daughter or whatever, and then his wife is probably just as equally as beautiful, or ex-wife anyways, but we never see her. But yeah, literally
She's
every
not
woman
listed in the credits.
Yeah,
remember?
oh yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, man, there was just so much to it. I would like to say, so maybe I don't know. I'm thinking about. I might be thinking a little bit too deeply into this movie, but so there is a moment where Jack Slater, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jack Slater, he kind of has this moment of realization, right? Where it's almost like nihilist in the sense where he's just like, what's the point, right? He's just like, everything about me is a piece of fiction. Like someone just wrote me, like I am this way because someone wrote me to be this way, right? He's just like whatever he says, like I'm funny, I'm good looking, I'm whatever, like, you know, the trauma that I went through with like my wife leaving me, me losing my son, trying to save him from the villain of the Ripper, the villain of the last movie. You see like you see Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, or I mean Jack Slater. He just has this moment of just kind of like despair where he's like, again, nihilist, because it's like very like, what's the point? And I don't know if that's like Shane Black and the co-writer trying to be like meta in the sense that he's trying to relate it to real life, where, you know, because people probably do really think that, right? Where it's just like, what's the point of anything? Because, you know, like does anything really matter? And then the whole like, you know, your life is already completely written out. I mean, I could definitely see some people thinking that's like a metaphor for God, right? Because they always say like, oh, he has a plan for you or whatever. And so I don't know if I'm thinking about it a little bit too deeply, but that moment got really like real. When,
I think you might be.
Yeah, I mean, I totally could be, man, honestly. But because the movie, again, it's not a serious movie. It's very like, you take it for what it is. But there's this one moment where Jack is just like, you know, I lost my son. Like, I really thought I went through something, but I didn't because someone just wrote it for me. So it's very, it's just very meta. It's very surreal. And in this whole movie, that's just kind of like one big explosion / like pun or whatever. Like the whole movie is basically that until that moment where he just gets surreal about his situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The self-realization that he's, just a fictional character.
Yeah.
I feel like there wasn't enough. This is the part where I criticized the movie a little bit this time. I liked it way more the first time I watched it, I think, but I feel like there wasn't enough character development for any of the characters for me to like actually like care about what happens to them. Like, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger lost his son in the beginning.
Jack Slater lost his son.
Yeah, Jack Slater lost his son, and like he just found out that he's like in the movie, but like where in his like character development did that like really like come to head, you know? It's like they said that, but it's like they didn't really work on getting that message across. I feel like that emotional message. The fact that he is like trapped in this world that someone else created, then like he's just like a mirror image of someone else, and he's like enslaved in this. Like they didn't really like dive into that or anything, or like,
but I think that's kind of like,
they said it like they glanced over it.
Yeah,
so fast.
no, I get it.
It wasn't a huge part or a huge time chunk of the film. It didn't take up a whole lot of time.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought the character development was just kind of that was like probably the most lacking thing in the movie.
So I will say, I think that if they did dive into that whole aspect of the movie, it would truly be an entertaining movie in a completely different sense, and I would actually like to see that story. But I think for this movie in particular, I think you just kind of take it for what it is. But I think they did that on purpose, where like, we don't want to turn this into, you know, a movie that's essentially it's a meta movie about satire, or like it's a satirical action movie, right? But I think they could have gone into that if they wanted to, but they're like, no, let's just keep this for what it is. It's a satirical movie about our industry specifically.
Yeah.
Again, dude, Shane Black and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, no one really knew Shane Black because not a lot of people were, like, no one really paid attention to writers unless you're super into movies and you start paying attention to writers. But the dude wrote the Lethal Weapon series, and then Schwarzenegger was in Conan, Terminator, blah blah blah. You know, so the dude is synonymous with action movies, obviously. So I just think they wanted to kind of poke fun at their own industry, but it is kind of cool that if they wanted to, they could have kind of got off of a certain off ramp and delve into this whole like
Even with the mom,
what does life
I feel like
mean,
she had
whatever,
a story
right?
that they could have like
Yeah.
picked at a little bit. you
Yeah,
know?
but I think
Developed
it's
her
just, like,
character, so I care about her more.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't care about Jack Slater, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jack Slater's son.
Jack Slater.
I don't care about. He was just in the beginning of the movie. It's like, yeah, so it's your son who died. I don't fucking know you or him. You're just telling me he's your son. But like, okay, but like I never saw them like have a father-son moment. So like, why am I supposed to be emotionally manipulated?
Wait, father-son moment or mother?
Father-son moment between Jack Slater and his son who died.
Oh,
Like
I
they
gotcha,
like
okay.
or like why am I supposed to be like emotionally manipulated if you're not even like gonna
I don't
like,
think
try to like give me a reason?
I
to
would
be?
say that I don't think they were
you
really
know?
trying to like emotionally manipulate.
Every
you,
movie does,
but
every movie emotionally manipulates. you.
I guess that's a whole other like separate argument. But
Right.
I think they try to introduce like because again he is a fictional character, right? So I don't even know how you would try to show that he really cared about his son or whatever. Like, are we gonna have to watch the first 2 films to understand that he like really cares about his son? Because again, it's a movie within a movie, so. I think time wise and pacing wise, it would have been very difficult to try to play that whole thing. But they sort of did try, obviously, because in the first viewing of the Jack Slater 3, you don't see that his son did die, right? Like,
Right, yeah, the film goes out of focus.
yeah, and then later you do find out that
It's like a plot twist, kind of. Like
yeah,
halfway through the movie.
yeah. Later you do find out that his son did die on that rooftop or whatever, and he couldn't save him. Which actually would have been interesting in an actual movie series, because you always think like all the good guys are gonna win, but in that battle he took down the bad guy, but he lost his son. So did he really win? Kind of situation. But yeah, I just don't think. I think pacing wise, it would have been a disaster to try to go into all of that, trying to go into the mother-son relationship, trying to go into the father-son relationship between Jack, a fictional character, and his fictional son, obviously. I think it would have been a bit of a mess if they tried to dive into that. Also, to anyone who's seen Game of Thrones, fucking Tywin Lannister is the bad guy in the movie, which I did not see coming, because I don't think I've ever seen that dude in anything other than Game of Thrones, and he was old as shit in fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But the dude plays a fucking bad guy. The dude very much well knows how to play a bad guy. But it's just so funny him being in this like over the top action movie where again, you shoot one thing, it explodes. You tap something with your car, it explodes. You know, it's just this is just the kind of the world that Jack Slater lives in. But I don't know, man. I enjoyed it. It was just a fun movie. Like in the most general sense, that's all I could really say about it. It's just a fun watch. Again, once you learn how to take movies for what it is, if it's an over the top action movie or if it's a very like ridiculous comedy, things like Jack and Jill and Don't Mess with the Zohan and things like that, you could truly enjoy something like this. It's just fun, man. It's just a lot of fun. Would I watch it again? Honestly, probably, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I liked it. It was fun. There's probably maybe some things I missed about it. Maybe not, because it's obviously not a very deep movie. There's certain scenes where, you know, it gets a little bit meta and it kind of makes you think about things in a more existential sense. But just overall, man, it's just, I love a movie that can make fun of itself, dude. There's something different about that. And I mean, I've never seen this movie before. This is my first watch. RJ, this is your second. Bentley, this is your second watch. Right, yeah. And this movie came out, and I think we saw it in 93?
1993.
Yeah, 1993. So it was out before we were even born. So, I mean, I'm fucking 31 years late to this movie, essentially. And I loved it, dude. Like, I could definitely see, like, if I watched that as a kid, I'd probably be watching it a little bit more often. You know, I'd be
Yeah.
like, I would probably watch that movie multiple times as a kid, or I'm just like, dude, have you seen The Last Action Hero? Like, this thing's looking great. Like, it's so fucking, it's so funny, it's so dumb, but there's a little bit more of a seriousness factor to it. And then Jack Slater's daughter in the movie is the same girl who played the teacher in Billy Madison, if anyone's ever seen it. And I remember that girl being one of my first crushes as a kid. Like, I had the biggest crush on his first grade teacher, I think she was, something like that. First grade, third grade, something like that. So seeing her in this, I was like, God damn, dude. Like,
Right around the same
fantastic,
time,
dude.
too.
The what I think about like a 90s love interest is her. Like, essentially, like, that's her right there.
I think when I was looking her up, I think I saw she was
Probably like a model or
Miss
something.
USA or Teen USA.
Oh, no way.
Miss Teen USA 1990.
Hey, wow, that doesn't honestly surprise me in the least. But yeah, she's a very beautiful woman, obviously very attractive. But yeah, dude, I had the biggest crush on her as a kid, and I never even seen this movie. I'm just purely talking off of Billy Madison.
Is that where you got the crush, Billy Madison?
That's the only thing I've seen her. The only other thing I've seen her in. So yeah, that's where I definitely got the crush on her.
She was Sonya Blade in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh my god, I thought she looked familiar. Like, I thought she looked familiar from something else. That makes so much sense. Hell yeah, dude.
That's where your crush really came from.
Nah, it was definitely Billy Madison. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just, yeah, dude. Also,
How does it rank in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies?
Man, I don't know,
Say.
dude. Because Terminator 2 is,
Yeah. Which is referenced in this movie, too.
yeah, which also is also, yeah.
year
We actually
after.
we see a reference twice technically, because we see the cutout with Sylvester Stallone, because in that world he stars in Terminator 2. And then we see when they go to the police station, the guy who plays the T-2000,
Right, the T-2's there,
he
yeah.
walks out, and even
Half second
even
cameo.
Danny, like, he does like a quick turnaround because he had to make sure he saw what he just saw. But I love the little gags like that, the little references. I mean, Danny DeVito played the freaking cartoon cat that saves Jack Slater at one point. But I mean, overall, in the Arnold Schwarzenegger's verse, man, I don't know, dude. Because again, Terminator 2 is probably in my top 10. I can't think of where exactly in my top 10 it falls, but it's up there, man. It's such a good movie that I watched that movie a lot as a kid. I mean a lot. So
we've established
I don't know
it's not a film.
it's a film to me.
Terminator 2 is like the ultimate blockbuster movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah,
I'd
it
say.
really is.
For sure.
And it's crazy because it's one of the few times that someone has completely changed the plot of an overall story and nailed it. Because obviously in T1,
Right.
he was the villain. I mean,
yeah.
you know, Schwarzenegger was a villain.
The
dude.
first one's a horror movie. And
Essentially,
and
yeah.
essentially. And he's the slasher
Right. He's
bad
the
guy.
the cat
monster.
monster.
He is the monster. Yeah, exactly. So to completely change the plot of that and nail it is incredibly impressive because not just anyone can do that. And that's why I jokingly/unjokingly say that James Cameron peaked at Terminator 2. Everything after that was okay.
That's fair to say.
Too terrible. But yeah, man, I don't know, dude. I'm trying to think of other Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that I've seen. I still need to watch The Running Man. I've always heard that's great.
Total Recall.
Total Recall. I watched Predator as a kid, and I remember really liking Predator. I thought
Yeah,
Predator
that one was pretty
yeah.
good. That's gonna be up there for me.
Yeah, Predator
Jingle
was sick.
all the way.
Oh yeah, Twins is a funny movie, but I have to watch it again. I haven't watched it since I was a little kid.
I feel like in a way, Last Action Hero kind of like highlights a sort of like slowing down of his career, kind of like it's his first like comedic role that he took, and it's like it seems like after that he just
Is this
Wasn't-
first comedic role?
Nah, because he already did Twins.
Yeah, I was
and
about to say-
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay.
when he started doing more like unserious things. I need to watch True Lies. I've only ever seen clips of it, but it looks like a really good movie.
I think that was the like the most expensive movie at the time.
At
like,
the time,
at
right?
time,
Yeah,
most
because obviously
expensive
later
movie
he
ever
probably
made.
did. Yeah.
I thought that'd be like Cleopatra or a Ben-Hur or a One of those shits.
I mean, one of those probably was, but
Yeah.
True Lies passed that up at one point.
From his more recent movies, not counting the Expendables, because obviously he was like never like a main character in that. He just kind of comes out in it. The Last Stand, I actually remember watching in theaters because the movie I was supposed to watch, like the theater was completely packed, and I was like, yeah, I'm not dealing with any of that. So I just kind of pivoted to go watch The Last Stand, and it's just a fun, dumb action movie. It's again, like, I mean, there's no better way to describe it. It's fun, it's dumb, it's enjoyable. It's Schwarzenegger being an old man, but he does it well. Like, I don't know, it's just Schwarzenegger old in an action movie. It's great. Yeah, I don't know. This does kind of make me want to watch other Schwarzenegger movies so I can more kind of rank his films. Because in reality, I've only seen a handful to less than a handful.
I would like to recommend Pumping Iron. It's a great movie. Actually.
I think we watched,
genuinely a very great movie.
I think, well, that's a documentary, right?
Yeah.
I think we watched that in middle school, actually. I feel like I remember watching it in school for some reason
It's
at one point.
the rivalry of him. It's the rivalry of him and then Greg, who played the Hulk in the Hulk TV show.
Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah, Lou
Lou
Ferrigno. It's them competing for the world bodybuilder.
Oh,
thing
okay.
At the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah. I really thought it was just about him, honestly, and like how he became, this world sensation, going from an Austrian bodybuilder to
Pretty much. He was already a
Hollywood
sensation.
superstar.
I think the story is that he already had like 3 or 4 wins at the time the movie was made, and he was like getting his fifth win or something.
Oh, okay.
Lou Ferrigno was trying to beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Franco Colombo. Do you know him?
Colombo?
The powerlifter, Italian powerlifter.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
so.
He was like, I think he was like a big influence on Arnie, but he was his best man at his wedding to Maria Shriver. And in the very, I think it's the Jack Slater 4 when you see the opening credits. It says
I was just
Franco
about to say-
Colombo production.
Yeah. I was just about to
So
say
that
that
was
because
like a
the
little,
only reason why I know
nod
that
to
name
him.
is because of The Last Action Hero. Yeah,
Interesting.
you see that reference in there. I know I said this a really, really long time ago, but rewatching an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie reminded me of this. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the original Gal Gadot. Because it's like this, whatever. I mean, she's from Israel, obviously, right? And
She's Wonder Woman, right?
She's Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
She's this kind of like, well, I mean, I don't want to call Arnold a bombshell, but I mean, obviously the dude was like prime specimen status or whatever.
Yeah.
But Gal Gadot, she was literally Miss Israel. I don't know if she ever won Miss Universe, but I know she won Miss Israel. Just a classically, whatever, beautiful woman. And she, got into acting, but she can never get rid of her accent. So every role either needs to justify her accent, or she either needs a role where she basically always gets to play an Israeli, or if she doesn't, they have to justify why she has an Israeli accent. Like in Wonder Woman, I think they gave all of the Themyscirans, whatever, her accent, essentially. So I just think it's so funny that, like, because I was just like, who's done this before? And I was like, oh, right. I was like, Arnold. Obviously, they're just, no one ever questions Arnold being Austrian, in any of his movies.
I
They're just like,
always love in Jingle All the Way. What was his name? Howard Langston is his character's name.
Oh
but
my
he
God,
has
okay.
that thick Austrian
Yeah,
accent.
so
It's
Howard
like,
Langston.
yeah, it's like, yeah, no, I'm Howard Langston.
Langston.
Did
yeah.
John Hughes write that? Is that a John Hughes
No, I don't think so.
movie?
No, Randy Cornfield.
Cornfield.
Cool.
Corn with a K, bruh.
Oh, different.
Makes it cool.
Nah, but yeah, man. I mean, yeah. I'll like always made that connection between Arnold and Gal because they're basically just the same.
Yeah.
Like their story to me is the same.
I'd say Arnold though is kind of a bad actor, but the people who put him in their movies use that to their advantage. So like with, with
totally.
the Terminator, he's like a robot,
Yeah.
whatever, with like emotionless, humanless.
Right.
Yeah.
So his acting, his like kind of stuffy acting, like works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude, like I don't know if you've ever seen any Gal Gadot movies, because obviously her first big one and her claim to fame is Wonder Woman, and I loved Wonder Woman except for like anyone else who actually watched that movie except for the last 15 minutes essentially, because it just really just kind of jumps the shark basically. But she did the role well, man. She really gave off what you would feel like Wonder Woman is like. But the thing is, she's not the best actress, obviously, and now she's just kind of been pigeonholed into doing action movies. And even when she does comedy, it's a comedy action movie.
She probably knows Krav Maga, dude.
Oh, she does. Yeah.
Israeli
Well, yeah.
bitches.
Because she's Israeli, so she was. What is it when you're like forced to participate in the
she had to be in the
military?
military.
Yeah, so she was actually in the military for like 3 years or whatever the minimum contract is.
Conscripted service? I don't know.
Conscription.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Thank you, Tropico.
Yeah, so she, you know, I mean, she was already in really good shape. She's tall for a female. She's like 5'10", I think, something like that. But yeah, I mean, she did the role well, but she's obviously just been kind of pigeonholed in this role now because, I mean, she's only done Wonder Woman twice now, but you look at her filmography, it's literally all action movies. If it's a comedy movie, it's a comedy action movie. And then before that, it was very, very minor roles where she had like 1 or 2 sentences to speak. RJ, I know you've seen Entourage, and there's an episode where she's Vince's date. Yeah, and she says like 1 or 2 sentences in that whole episode.
I think that's the only thing I've ever seen her in, honestly.
I mean, for you, yeah, probably.
Never seen Wonder Woman. I saw that she was in some of the Fast and Furious movies.
And then,
definitely the later ones that I haven't seen. So.
Yeah, and then obviously Fast and Furious is like one of the definition over the top action movies you'll ever see. But yeah, she just hasn't really been there when it comes to showing emotion or anything. Yeah, man, she's just kind of pigeonholed. I kind of hope sometimes she does break out of it and prove people wrong that she can do more. But she's definitely gonna have to learn how to get rid of that accent before like every movie starts explaining why.
Well,
Diana Garcia has an Israeli accent or something like that. Or
Mark Hamill's advice to Arnold Schwarzenegger was like when he first met him in like the 70s.
No,
Arnold Schwarzenegger was trying to make it in the movies. He was like, well, you need to lose your accent and change your name. Well, no.
Yeah.
That was not actually the answer.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, maybe she has to figure out a way to make the accent work for her.
Yeah.
I guess.
It is also one of the prime examples of, because in Conan, there's like this famous thing about how he has so little lines in that movie. And the reason is because his English was just so terrible that there's like no way they can just try to justify him speaking in every scene or whatever, or multiple sentences. Because I guess in the original script he did have a lot more to say, but then whatever Conan, like, you know, they were like, yeah, this isn't working. So Conan is now the strong silent type who only speaks every 10 minutes or something, something like that. Essentially, I think his co-star actually had more lines in the movie than he did. And yeah, like again with Gal Gadot, they don't try to make her speak less. They just either always explain that her character is Israeli, or they're like, oh, the land that Wonder Woman's from, yes, for some reason they have an Israeli accent. They don't call it an Israeli accent. They call
America, Israel, best allies.
Yeah, they don't call it an Israeli accent. They say it's a Themysciran accent. But yeah, and I just thought it was so funny because there's if you ever watch the movie, there's actually a lot of, like, obviously it's a woman-only island, so you see a lot of women talk during those scenes. And I'm like, oh, so all these women just had to learn an Israeli accent instead of one person learning how to do a normal or a non-Israeli accent, essentially.
They're not the stars.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's funny, like, how much they'll work around you.
You're telling me there's a Marvel movie about a bunch of women just talking?
First of all, it's DC.
Oh, it's DC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, get your facts right, Ben.
Nah, Wonder Woman's good, except, again, the last 15 minutes, and then it's just straight ass, dude. That movie, yeah. But basically 90% of the movie is fantastic. It's fun. It's also not, I don't want to say sadly enough, but weirdly enough, one of the most famous World War I movies, because that's the whole setting of the movie. Is she leaves her island to help. I think his name is like Steve. I was going to say Steve Rogers, but that's fucking Captain America. But I think his name is Steve because he's an American spy. He's a pilot, and then because her world is completely isolated from the rest of the world, So she leaves and she discovers that basically the world is at war, but because her island is so isolated, she had no idea. And she thinks Ares, the god of war, is basically behind it. So it's interesting to mix kind of Greek mythology with real world events. It's there was a nice little twist to it. It's again, man, it's a good movie. It's just, again, the last 15 minutes just fucking sucked.
I'm probably never seeing it. Wonder Woman, probably.
I don't know, man. It's fun. It's definitely one of the better things that DC came out when they started doing the whole like DC expanded universe or whatever. Man of Steel, meh. Batman or Superman sucked so many dicks. Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, fucking sucked. It was like, and then Joker, which isn't even part of the expanded universe technically. Yeah, dude, Wonder Woman was like the best thing they did until the Suicide Squad came out. Yeah. Yeah, so Last Action Hero. fun, family action movie. I don't know. I mean, just about anyone can really enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a family movie though.
Or remember, he couldn't even say the F word, right? Because it's a PG-13 movie.
Right.
Which,
right.
I did want to bring that up.
What was the word?
Dude, I don't know why. I was like, that's actually really smart of this kid to try to figure out, like, if he's, like, or to try to prove that he's in the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just, like, saying this word. He's like, I don't want to. And it's like, it's because you can't. Because you're in a PG-13 movie and you're not allowed to. I don't know why, but I was like, that's actually kind of genius.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I was like, that makes sense.
And the movie actually probably is PG-13, like actually.
Yeah.
It
actually is
the real movie.
If I remember correctly, it is. It is rated PG-13.
Just a little meta nod. Yeah, my thing with it, it's very like cheap fun, I guess.
Okay.
It's very like just like I feel like there's not a lot of like weight to the stakes or anything, or like there's really no like reason that I need to care about these characters other than the fact that they're like action heroes, you know?
Okay.
They never really work at that. They're just like, oh, this guy's an action hero, so like you should care about him. He's like really cool.
But do you think about that when most action movies you watch, like where you feel
most
like
action hero movies are pretty dumb. Like, and they are like, you know, you're who's that actor who everybody likes to make fun of, who does bad martial arts or whatever?
Steven Seagal.
Steven
Seagal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
Oh yeah, the bad martial arts.
Yeah, the bad one, not the good one.
like he's an action hero. He's trying to be an action hero. Like,
Yeah.
that's like what's in his mind and stuff. Like, and he's I don't know. It's not a genre I like necessarily like.
It's not like your favorite, obviously, by any means.
But Die Hard, you have fucking Bruce Willis's character
John
like
McClane.
actually has like emotional resonance because you can tell he's like estranged from his wife.
Yeah.
And like when
And
they're
he's upset about
interacting,
it,
you can tell there's like a distance between them. Like
I
even when they're in the
gotcha.
same room, like the director like makes an effort to like show you and like make you actually care about these characters. Where in like Last Action Hero, it's just like so, just like ham-fisted fun.
Yeah.
And, like there's no like actually. Kind of ironically, I was thinking about Bergman a couple times watching this movie, which is ironic because he shows up later in the movie because the Seventh Seal, like the death character, comes out and starts killing niggas. But let's edit that.
Yeah.
First of all, he kills one person, and it's a white guy.
With Bergman, he focuses fully on character and like human interaction and like the meaning behind people's like characters. And this movie was like kind of the polar opposite of Bergman, which I thought was funny when they like brought Bergman into it. I was like, oh, they're like bringing in like actually like the opposite of the Last Action Hero thing.
Yeah.
Putting it together.
I just like to point out that like I like how you say Birdman instead of Birdman. Like
Bergman.
you say Birdman like it's a last name.
Bergman.
Bergman.
I thought you said Birdman.
No.
Ingmar Bergman.
Oh, I kept hearing Birdman.
No, the Seventh Seal.
Oh, okay.
He's
I kept
talking
hearing
about- yeah.
I kept hearing Birdman like Birdman because I thought you were talking about like Michael Keaton, like because like the whole thing is like he's haunted by a superhero character that he portrayed like forever ago or whatever, right? So I kind of thought like there was like whatever, like Arnold the actor, and then Arnold like the action star or whatever. So I kept hearing Birdman, and I'm like,
No, Bergman
I was
is
like, why are you saying it
he's
like
the-
it's a last name?
He's the director of the Seventh
Right,
Seal.
yeah,
of that
you're
death
right,
movie.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I'm just saying like Bergman.
Okay.
He
I
specialized
got it now.
in like
I just heard,
characters,
yeah.
and like that was his forte, and like the hidden meaning behind characters, and like just
I got
humanity.
you.
And I feel like this movie did not care about that at
Yeah,
all.
I-
To put Bergman in there, I feel like it helped too, because it's like it's like the opposite of what this movie is trying to be.
Whoa.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, no. Again, with action movies, I mean,
You can have emotionally resonant, deeply human action heroes.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely.
can.
You can. I just don't think that's the typical. I don't want to say trope, but just kind of the thing about action movies is, you just sometimes you just take it for what it is. It's an over the top action movie. I was gonna say things like Fast and Furious, but there is a whole family aspect to it, and you do kind of learn to like really love and appreciate the characters. But again, they're like 11 movies deep in at this point, so it's kind of hard to not eventually start growing an attachment to the characters. But it's like Transformers, right? It's like I didn't really care about Sam Witwicky or fucking Megan Fox's character in that sense. I'm just like,
How would you?
I want to watch giant robots fight each other or
exactly.
blah blah blah.
And those movies suck.
Yeah, but they're entertaining.
No, they suck.
They're entertaining. I haven't seen them since I was a kid, but I remember I was like, okay, you take it for what it is. It's fucking giant alien robots that turn into cars and fight each other and stuff.
Michael Bay.
Yeah,
Michael
Michael Bay,
friggin' Bay.
Michael Bay explosion, bro. Like it is.
Skippy
what
toilet
it-
movie better be better than that.
But you can, man. It's like
Like
have you ever seen Bad Boys 2?
Oh no.
That's a great Michael Bay movie. Like he did that before Transformers, and it's a pretty over the top action movie, and there's not like a lot of emotional resonance to it, but obviously the chemistry that like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have kind of do give that off, and there isn't a point in the movie where there's like stakes because one of the characters' sisters gets taken away essentially by the villain, so there's a bigger stake at hand. So
And a really, really, really great action hero movie, Big Trouble in Little China. So great. But the thing is, that character has no emotional like humanity core, but they never give you a reason to feel sympathetic for him. They never are like, oh, like you should feel bad for him right now. 'Cause,
Oh, okay.
Like,
So they never do anything else to make you like think about this movie deeper. Like
Yeah,
on
they
a
never,
deeper
like,
sense. It's just like you're gonna.
they never give you a reason to care about like his character that much.
Yeah,
like in this movie.
They're just like, this movie's gonna be an
It's
action
just-
thrill
yeah.
ride, and you're gonna fucking enjoy it essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
In the last action
fair
hero,
enough.
I feel like the emotional appeals to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character are a little bit ham-fisted and a little bit like.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I mean, fair enough, honestly. I mean, there's different action movies, obviously, in different levels. Again, sometimes you just take it for what it is. It's just an over-the-top movie, and sometimes there is a little bit of an emotional factor to it where you're like, damn, like, this kind of got real all of a sudden, Like, typically in superhero movies, it has more of the, there is an emotional factor to it.
Always.
I
pretty
mean,
much.
Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man trilogy, it's a real human story, man. Like,
Is Deadpool's-
that dude lost a lot. A Deadpool.
Yeah.
Um,
His is kind of weird. Like, it's
well,
not that
Deadpool,
tragic.
like it's funny because like I love the original Deadpool because again it makes fun of itself, but he even says because he can break the fourth wall, so he'll talk to the audience a lot, and he says, "Oh, people are just gonna think this is just some other stupid like superhero action movie, but no, they're wrong. This is really a love story." And he goes into this whole thing about how he like meets the love of his life, and then that's when he gets sick, and then that's when he gets experimented on, and the whole movie he's trying to find the courage to like talk to her after, because have you ever seen what he looks like? He just looks like I think they say he looks like a ball sack or whatever, because like the experimentation just fucked with his skin completely, and he looks like this hideous monster. So he's afraid to approach her again. So there is like weirdly something else to the movie, but I mean you're not really there for that. You're obviously there for fucking watching heads blow up, him cutting heads off, and him making like dick and fart jokes that are actually pretty funny.
I'd say a lot of the action heroes that exist have an emotional core to their humanity. Like Kill Bill, what's her name? The kid, I guess.
Beatrix Kiddo
Beatrix
Yeah.
Kiddo
is her real name.
Right.
Yeah.
She's I'd say she's like a modern action hero, and she has a very strong like. You really care about what happened to her.
Sure.
And and it's
Yeah.
not just like just because.
Yeah.
They're the main character.
You honestly started making me think about like what action movies I have watched where it's just over the top kind of just an action throw at it. I mean, the number one thing I can honestly think of is like Transformers or whatever.
Optimus Prime has some real solid depth.
Yeah, there's some cool lines in those movies, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I can't think of any of it at the moment because it's been a while. But yeah, man, this is take it for what it is. But Last Action Hero, man, I don't know, man. I think it's a good satire movie, just kind of making fun of Hollywood and the industry and just action movies in general. Again, this movie, I have to file it in under. I'll watch anything that Shane Black does. Like,
there you go.
The dude wrote wrote and directed one of my favorite movies of all time, which is The Nice Guys. One of the most underrated films ever made. One of the reasons I was pissed off at society because that movie should have been a huge financial success. Fortunately, it was a box office flop.
Which one is it?
The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys?
Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling. Because I would absolutely... I don't say this a lot about movies where I want a sequel. I absolutely want those two to fucking team up again and do a movie. And we probably would have gotten one because, I mean, Shane Black, obviously, he's not afraid of doing sequels or anything. I mean, he did fucking Lethal Weapons 1 through 4. But yeah, I was really mad at the world for not making that movie more successful than it should have been because I probably would have got 2 or 3 nice guys out of the situations. And if Shane Black was attached to all of them, he probably would have nailed every single one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Last Action Hero, I think like kind of final wrap up thoughts. It's just a fun, dumb action movie that it's meta, but it doesn't try to overly explain like the situation, which I like. Give me Groundhog's Day, bro. Like, give me whatever. Dude's stuck in the same day, and you don't have to explain that it's like a time paradox or, he was cursed by a witch or whatever. Like, he just was stuck in the same day or whatever. And, Houdini gives this guy a magic ticket that he ends up giving to a kid that transports him into the movies that he's watching.
It's a very fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, don't expect to learn anything, and actually expect to lose an IQ point, perhaps. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Damn. This coming from the guy who made us watch fucking Jack and Jill talking about fucking losing IQ points and shit. That's interesting. No, man, I mean, honestly, it's a fun movie, dude. That's all I could really say. That's like the best way I
feel
can
like
fucking describe it. It's just fun.
You're not really going to gain anything about, like, you're not going to learn anything about humanity or, like...
No, but I also don't think that's the point of the movie, right?
Right, no.
Yeah, it's
just
not trying to.
The point of the movie is to make money.
Sure.
As every movie.
I think the movies, kind of the point is also to make fun of action movies. Like, again, it's satire. So I think the point is to make fun of action movies. It's
like a love letter to the action movie
But
genre,
yeah, it's
too.
also, again, because they're like very synonymous with that genre. So it couldn't have come from anyone better, or like almost anyone better than like those two, honestly. I would probably give it, like, if I had to put a number on it, again, I do this thing where I give a rating and then like a week later I'm kind of like, you know what, I kind of changed my mind about that. But right now, I'd probably give it like about a 7, like 7.1, 7.2. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'd probably watch it again. I'll probably be quoting it for like a little bit. Fucking Tywin Lannister, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, man, this is fun. Probably like a 7.2 at the end of the day.
If you like action movies, watch it. That's
yeah.
I feel like
And if you like
kind of thing-
satire, like
Definitely.
if you like things that make fun of itself, it's great. Honestly, it's good satire for sure. RJ?
Yeah, probably I'd give it about a 7.5, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember going into watching it the first time. I thought it was going to be more of a serious kind of over-the-top action movie, if that makes sense. It's still over the top, but I didn't expect the whole satire and the whole parody of itself.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. You don't think a cartoon cat was going to make an appearance and
no, yeah,
save the
Mr.
day?
Whiskers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Whiskers. You don't think he's going to save the
Major
day at
part
one
of the plot.
point? Yeah. No, for sure. Because I mean, to be honest, I didn't really know anything about the movie, but I always heard things about it, so I kind of thought it was going to be just an over-the-top action movie. Like I didn't know about like the meta of it or anything, or like the satire of it. I had no idea until I actually watched it, which is cool. It's kind of good. It's good going in pretty blind.
I know I called Arnold Schwarzenegger a poor actor before, but this movie really shows off his range. He plays Jack Reacher.
Jack Slater.
Jack Slater. A wrong action hero.
Yeah,
just like you were saying, all 90s kids in those movies had Danny names. It's like Jack is like the ultimate action name.
Yeah, it's true.
We were looking at The Condemned, and Stone Cold is Jack Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
That's
true, right?
I forgot about that,
Yeah, Jack and Danny.
Yeah.
It's like they probably tried to do that, honestly. They probably like thought about that.
No,
Like, what's the most cliche
think about it.
names we can give them?
The Shining starred Jack Nicholson.
Ooh.
And then
Danny, the son.
Danny was the son, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There you go.
And I think Jack is his name in the movie, too.
I think you're
I
right.
think they call him Jack.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Johnny, right? Because he's like, here's Johnny.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's doing the Johnny Carson impression. Like,
Right.
I think his name
okay.
is actually Jack.
Okay.
I'm
I think you're
pretty
right.
Sure.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like Jack, whatever, something. I don't know.
And yeah, but
Okay. But all right, Bentley, final rating of Last Action Hero.
like, if I don't know if I give it a rating or anything, but I'll give it like if you just want like a dumb action hero movie and something to eat stuff popcorn in your mouth with, yeah, definitely.
An interesting.
You don't have to think that much during
description
it, or it's just entertainment.
I'll go.
You know,
All right, for sure. So not your favorite Schwarzenegger movie by any means.
probably not Terminator, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
Terminator 2.
It's
pretty.
Terminator 2. as
Yeah,
well.
it's pretty impossible to
But-
beat Terminator 2.
I forgot to make my point. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger's range. He plays
Jack Slater.
Jack Slater and Arnold Schwarzenegger in this
And he was
movie.
on-
So like,
And
Hamlet.
And Hamlet, actually.
Yeah,
in the
He plays
credits,
Hamlet.
he's listed as Jack Slater
Oh, man.
himself and
I
Hamlet.
forgot about the Hamlet
Yeah.
part. So yeah, 3 roles
Yeah.
and like pretty diverse. So like honestly, if you want to see him at his best,
we haven't seen that since Norbit did. You know, Eddie Murphy just playing like a bunch of different characters. Yeah, man. I don't know. Just it's
good dumb fun.
It's good dumb fun, man. That's
Good, dumb
all
fun.
it really is, dude.
Go watch it.
And sometimes, I mean, especially today, I think more movies kind of need to be like that, where it's just not afraid to be dumb. And, like, not every movie needs a fucking message. Not every movie needs, like, some deeper meaning to it. Like, it's just fun, dude. Like, I think Hollywood needs to go back to that, honestly.
Right, but they always got to put in an emotional thing at the end.
Yeah, they always
even
do.
if like they always got to like,
Or has to have some kind of, like,
no matter what.
I don't want to say, like, whatever. Like, either a political message or, like, a social message, or I'm just, like...
Right. And don't
Boring,
Isn't
like,
that
I'm
why
done with
people
that.
like Guardians of the Galaxy though? Is that they put in the emotional stuff, but
Mm.
even though like what you're going there for is for the comedy and the action.
Yeah.
It seems like people talk about the emotional stuff about those movies more than the actually the action and the.
So yeah, I mean,
So.
I'm a huge fan of the Guardians trilogy, but I will say it's nicer when you don't know that's what's coming, because like I mean, you kind of do a little bit predict out, especially specifically with like MCU movies where they obviously want you to grow an attachment to the character because they want like. You know, they want high stakes. They want something to be on the line.
Because they want to do another 10 movies.
Well, yeah,
Characters in 'em.
yeah, obviously. But the thing with the original Guardians movie is obviously, unless you're like a huge comic book nerd, you've never heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they're just a very unknown comic book. But
I just
you,
knew
James
Rocket
Gunn.
Raccoon from Marvel vs. Capcom.
yeah, that's the only reason I knew that character existed was because of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel vs. Capcom. But if you watch the original trailer to Guardians of the Galaxy, you look at it and it just looks like a fun. It just looks like a fun superhero movie with good action, good comedy, and kind of like this ragtag team of like people who don't want to work together but are forced to work together type of situation.
That movie might be the master class of combining the dumb action with like the emotional like resonance that makes you care about those characters, because you really fucking care about like Rocky Raccoon, who's just a silly looking raccoon, or like even Groot, like
Oh yeah, who
Like, they do
literally
a good
says
job.
through "I am Groot." Yeah,
they do a good job of making you like really care about these
Yeah, Guardians was
characters.
definitely like out of all the MCU, maybe even superheroes in general, was probably one of the better ones to to do that, because towards the end you're kind of like, damn, like, I mean, you're not gonna cry or like be really sad about anything, but there is
Third one, man.
But if you actually watch the trilogy of the third one, I had a friend who literally didn't watch any of the first two movies, but watched the third one because her work, whatever.
Yeah.
They had a company outing and they went to go watch it, and she said she was fucking crying at the third one, and she doesn't even watch movies in general, but she's like, this movie is fucking sad. I was like, yeah, there's moments where you're like, fuck, dude, like, you just kind of like wipe that shit away real, like,
I thought the Suicide Squad was pretty good at doing that too, really making you feel for the characters.
Right.
Okay,
Like, I think
yeah.
you even care about the Shark's character at some point.
Yeah.
Like, how do they make
Shark.
me care about a shark?
Yeah.
But they do it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, yeah, because you definitely know, like, I mean, no, none of them wanted to care for each other, and then towards the end, it just kind of happened, right? Like, Polka Dot Man died, I was like, no, you killed my favorite character.
Right,
That's
yeah.
what I was kidding, but...
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I didn't watch all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but I definitely feel like the Suicide Squad improved on that. You know, exactly what you're saying, like a ragtag groups of like misfits. That
Yeah,
are,
who
like,
don't want to work together or are
Right.
forced to work together for one reason or another.
And you really start to feel for the characters.
Yeah,
So.
and then that was definitely a movie where, like, when it was coming out, I really thought it was just gonna be over the top action, hilarious. I was like, they probably will grow some sort of emotional attachment to each other, but I don't think it was gonna be I didn't think it was gonna be done that well. And then so when I actually watched it, I was very surprised how well they pulled it off. Yeah, man, it's yeah, that's a good example actually. Yeah, that's a really good one.
But I don't want to say that Last Action Hero was like bad or anything. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know,
No.
the things about it I feel like could have made me care a bit more about what was happening, I suppose.
Okay.
But
All right.
it seems like in a lot of ways a collection of action sequences that are just kind of like pieced together with some semblance of a story,
Yeah.
which is fun.
I do wonder if if Shane Black wrote basically he like actually wrote a Jack Slater movie,
Yeah,
and then he
right?
decided to make it meta later.
Probably.
You know, he's just like, oh, I have this over the top action movie starring like probably someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude,
And then he's
probably.
like, and then someone, his co-writer, whatever that dude's name was, like, I like it, but like I feel like there's something more that we could do with it, you know. And then it's like, how about we make it into this meta story, right? And you know, the dude has like a fucking existential crisis at one point. I don't know. It's a part of me kind of thinks that he did have that Jack Slater movie just written up, ready to go, and then he kind of pivoted and thought, like, you know what? No, there's something more or I could do something more with this, and he fucking did it. Yeah, man, fun movie. I give it 7.2 at the end of the day. Right now, and a week later, it'll probably be like maybe 7.5 or something. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, good movie though. Go watch it if you like Shane Black, if you like action, if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If you like cheesy puns and
All
fucking
those
unreal
things.
situations and explosions
And guns never running out of bullets.
and guns running in air bullets.
Mozart.
Mozart. Yeah,
Hamlet.
great references to Hollywood, too.
Tywin Lannister. Yeah, there's a lot to it. But all right, guys, that's the end of today's episode on Last Action Hero.
3 hacks in a movie.
On 3 hacks in a movie. I like it. We'll say placeholder for now, but I do like the title for that for sure.
Hack Slater.
All right, I've been Emilio.
RJ.
Bentley.
All right, have a good night, y'all.